What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mentality Podcast with your host, Ali, co-host, Noor Wahid.
What's up?
If there was AI, the first question I'd ask is, what's going on Area 51? Tell me right now. Go.
Hey, man, would you believe me if I told you that we're actually going hiking right now? To which he responded, yeah, okay, so that'll be $36. And I was like... Hypothetical, let's get right into it. If you find a note on your door that tells you to leave immediately, and if you sleep where you reside tonight, you will be killed, what do you do?
Go to sleep.
Really? So like, you're not afraid of enemies you might have created or just somebody, like it could be a prank?
I can't be bothered with somebody like that, just putting something on my note. Just knock on my door and tell me then.
You?
He's going to risk it, basically.
How about you?
I mean,
Because I know your background.
what is the...
In terms of... Wait. Wait. Like...
You hoodlum?
No, like you like to learn about like stuff in the military and stuff. Like you're educated about these things, and
So
you're
you're
the
saying
type
he's
of person.
paranoid.
Wait. I need to preface because this looks like I just shit on your like entire ethnicity. Maybe
You make me sound like the person who just sits on my porch being like, God damn,
Yeah.
people, go back to where you came from.
You're telling me that you're not
These are
that
my
friend.
jobs.
Time out. You're telling me that you're not that friend that always says, hypothetically, if the world was to end, you have a whole plan, A to Z, what to do.
You still
Is
upset
not
about
you?
that?
No, I'm not upset. People don't know what we're talking about. So,
I know.
no.
Well, I'll give them a backstory, too. Are you upset that I left you out of my disaster plans?
I would think I could handle my own, but you just seem like somebody that is very calculated in these times of stress. If things were to go,
Okay, look, if it's my life, everything in my life stays the same. I just have this new information of a sign on my door. I gotta tell you, I didn't piss anyone off. If anyone did want to kill me, I clearly didn't give them a reason.
Okay,
Yeah.
both of you would just resume life.
I'm not that paranoid.
Okay, now, do you think that's just a male thing? Like, if that was somebody putting that, like, if your wife saw that, no,
She'll probably
be
freak
lot
out
more
maybe a
flustered, of
bit.
course.
Like, yeah, she won't be able to sleep. And then I'll just, I don't know.
It's
You have
okay.
to-
Go-
then you have to
bring a
deal
knife,
with it.
bring a knife under my pillow or something just
Okay,
for her to
okay.
pass out.
No, but so I picked this hypothetical more so because the comments were hilarious.
Okay.
So I want to run them by
So
you.
before you say that, like, what about you? What would you do?
Oh, okay. Good. I mean, I did call the police.
Call the police?
I'd probably call the
Oh, that
police.
is a good one. But I don't think they'll
I thought
come.
that was the obvious.
I don't know, man. For me to call them, like, I'd
No?
have to
You don't
really
think they would
believe
do
it.
Yeah, like, I don't think they'll come.
I'd have to really believe that it's, like, genuine for me to call
They'll,
the police.
they'll take
I'll
note, and then
probably
if you die the
exaggerate it.
next day, they'll be like, okay, time to investigate.
That's exactly what's
How
going
it
to happen.
works.
yeah.
How it works.
You're not going to just...
What's the point then? I address my concern and I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm being threatened, and then they'll be all right.
gonna
Like,
be
what
All right,
else to know? It's cool.
who have you seen lately, or what have you pissed off anybody lately? And you're just going to say no.
No, I'll tell them we'll have a podcast called Mentality Podcast and have some cool.
You must be targeting me for my high profile.
Who I consistently, hang out with.
I'm an influencer.
They'd be like,
No,
you're
man.
one of
Like
those
Noor
influencers.
said, odds are they're gonna show up Law and Order version after you die, make 3 shitty puns on your crime scene, and then be
Yeah.
like,
Oh my
"All right, now let's go get coffee."
I'm surprised you guys just didn't say call the police, but okay, you'd resume life. Maybe have a knife under your pillow, and then you said you'd what?
Okay, if you're asking me to prep for this, I
No,
would
not
put.
prep.
I
No,
would
you
no,
find
no,
one
but
day
like if you
somebody
no,
leaves
no.
you
Honestly, I wouldn't go to the police. I might start in putting cameras outside my house, floodlights, stuff like that. But that's more
catch.
just to reassure her. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
And also because I'm curious who's doing this.
Yeah.
If it's some little punk kid, then maybe I set a trap. But otherwise,
Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
incriminating yourself
Yeah.
right now for future if something.
this is
does
a
happen.
hypothetical. This is a
course,
you
of
started
course.
off by
It
saying
is a
hypothetically.
hypothetical. It is a hypothetical.
God, I know my rights.
So the comments were like, send my wife and kids away. I would call the homies up and wait because shit's about to go down. All right, that's a sick one. And then this guy was like, well, I'd ask my wife what I did first because the note's probably in her handwriting. I thought that was,
Yeah.
that was pretty funny. Yeah, that's it. Anyways, next. Now we get into the actual podcast.
Wow.
But we start with the hypothetical just to kind of loosen the bolts, if you will. So have you guys heard of what's been going down with TikTok lately?
It's not just TikTok though. It's TikTok. It's
No.
X. It's
No, that's
okay, you're gonna-
that's
sorry, I thought-
later in the episode.
that's the thing
that
I
we
know
touch.
about,
Okay,
right?
okay, because I would think Noor would know because we're both on TikTok. You're not really on it, so you wouldn't really know what's what's happening right now with it.
Yeah, I
it
know.
happened yesterday.
Okay.
So TikTok and this music publisher called Universal Music Group, which they have the rights to,
Everything.
Yeah.
like, just to
You're
give
about to
you
list off everything.
Yeah.
Okay, see.
no. There's just a few artists.
Okay.
Anything made or created by Taylor Swift, Drake, The Weeknd, Rihanna, Kanye
The
West,
first
Eminem,
three names
Adele,
were enough to
No.
show like the whole industry on lock.
Adele, right? So this is just to name a few.
Yeah.
If anybody in the past has ever used a sound that was, or like, because in TikTok, these trendy videos sometimes can just have like 10 seconds of a sound.
Yeah.
And that 10 seconds could be from a song, let's say, that Rihanna just dropped and she's promoting it through TikTok. If you used a video and that was even in the background or...
They'll find you. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not find you. They'll just mute the sound. So that way, now on your profile, you just have a bunch of videos that are muted, just like... Right?
Yeah.
So there's
There's
like
actions
wasted
happening.
videos.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
isn't
sound
that
to
why
it.
everybody does that shitty little like sped up versions? Because that way it won't get flagged.
I don't know.
Well, haven't you guys
I don't
noticed that there's always a remix now? It's never the original song. It'll always be. Usually it's because
Now.
it's because those remixes are trending. You know, like Shireen and
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's
Now.
everywhere.
Now, but how TikTok came to be such a prominent force, I feel like in the social media space, was one, their algorithm is amazing.
Yeah.
People are trying to emulate that. But two, it's more so a lot of accounts coming up, the Charlie D'Amelio's and all these big accounts would just dance and have music in the background, and a lot of people just gravitated towards those accounts that still do that. It's funny because months ago people would be like, if anything does happen with TikTok, the first type of account that will go or just fall flat are the ones that they never use their voice. It's just like sounds from like these artists or like dances and whatnot. I had 15 million followers on that. Now I have to pivot aggressively and like change my content or maybe find a loophole in this.
Yeah, well, it's only with whoever's under Universal Studios,
Bro,
right?
you don't
For the
need-
most part.
Isn't that like
Yeah.
everybody?
So
Yeah.
many. It's the
I know it's
second
all-
biggest music publisher in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have contracts, TikTok, with others, but
And it's crazy. This whole infringement because they couldn't come up with a deal between TikTok and Universal Studio for like at a dollar amount. So Universal Studios is like, okay, can't
Let me
use my
guess.
stuff anymore.
They want to be like Spotify, basically saying like, I
Essentially.
will license these all to you for a fee, like yearly
yeah,
or
so
whatever.
TikTok pays the music producers, like this group. They pay them so that way the users on TikTok can use the sound for free.
Yeah.
But now this contract dispute between the group and TikTok, it's actually gone like very shady because both of them have written open letters, taking like shitting on each other. UMG, which is the group, the Universal Music Group, they actually refused to extend their contract with TikTok, like I said earlier. But they said in an open letter that TikTok, and I quote, TikTok is trying to build a music-based business without paying fair value for the music. TikTok is being stingy, apparently. So TikTok heard that, fired back with an open letter of their own. They said that, and I quote, it is sad and disappointing that Universal Music Group has put their own greed above the interests of their artists and songwriters. Clearly, Universal's self-serving actions are not in the best interests of artists, songwriters, and fans around the world, end quote. So I don't know if it's going to get resolved. However, I didn't believe it. So this took into effect yesterday, midnight. Once it hit midnight, anyone
Is this
that...
what you guys were talking about before the pod? Sorry, I was like half
Yeah,
listening,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
were basically
Yeah,
saying you saw a
briefly.
video that's already muted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
It was one of my videos. Like I've had it on my personal.
Oh,
that was
okay.
because I got a notification. It was saying copyright
Infringement.
infringement.
Did you do a
audio
dance
is muted.
video? Did you do one of
Nah,
those?
bro, no, it was
Never.
nothing like that.
Probably like
Kiki.
Nothing like
a
that.
travel
It was a
vlog.
repost or something.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what it was.
Yo,
I'm
can
just
you
imagining
imagine
Noor
has,
hopping
like,
out
a
his
secret-
scoop going.
Yo, can you imagine Noor has like a secret thing that
Identity on TikTok?
No, it's not identity. It's him, but under a different name, and he never shows that to the group.
Yeah.
But he really has like moves and whatnot. You're like, okay, Noor. I
You'll
see it.
eventually see it. My algorithm is
Imagine-
good.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
I would say like with one positive thing out of this
Oh, yeah.
is probably the no name or the artists coming up have more of an influence now to be able to be used around the app.
Okay.
Couldn't they?
So they have
you
more
say
of a
it's playing
chance.
field?
Yeah, because now like those bigger TikTokers you're talking about are gonna have to go to like I don't want to say B-list artists, but like people who are not on those big record companies,
Like
right?
SoundCloud artists and
SoundCloud,
stuff
yeah, you know
like
what I mean?
that.
So they're going to start using those sounds
Good.
to have more of a influence.
They'll
They kinda
adapt.
go
They'll
through it.
find a way.
Like,
That's what I'm
it-
trying to
Good
say.
Because now a lot of the market, which was the top of the market, just got X'd out, right?
Yeah, but it might drive them. Like I see what you're saying. They're gonna adapt and probably
Yeah.
use those B-list to use your words. Those B-list artists. SoundCloud is like C-list, but you get like
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. They'll probably adapt, but I mean, I want to know: did the artist say anything like Drake, Taylor Swift, even though she's too busy? Like,
The only thing that some of these artists have said, it's not directly related to this, but
Yeah.
a little bit.
because most of them use TikTok too, right? So
Yeah.
they're probably
It's
like,
a marketing tool for them.
The UMG group, they also something that they stated they didn't like was the kind of the uprise of AI and how people are like using Drake's voice and whatnot, like stuff we've touched on in earlier
Yeah.
episodes. So they don't like that aspect, and
feel
this
like
is still similar, but Taylor Swift specifically, I think you name dropped her. She actually got so infuriated that there's been AI
oh yeah.
Yeah.
The dirty
porn
images and
being,
all
like,
that.
passed
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
using her stuff, and like this is affecting her, and she said like it's affecting her mental health and whatnot. So that's the only thing that I've heard that artists have like spoken up. It's somewhat loosely tied to this.
You remember we talked
AI
about
stuff.
this when you both said, "Oh, what's wrong with private information being out there?" I don't think any of us thought that just uploading your face online could result in something like
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
like I told you guys before, the dangers aren't always apparent. Something might come down later down the line that just says like, "Oh my god, like they could do this with my information that I put out there."
Well,
That's
isn't
fair.
that the same thing as I think it was maybe one of you that said if somebody calls you, and this is just a PSA for everybody,
Oh,
if
yeah.
somebody calls you that's an unknown number, don't answer it and
Yeah.
just be like, "Hi, hello, who's this?
Yeah.
Hello," because sometimes that might be enough if the person on the other side is really intelligent to go that far and really wants to do this to you. They're able to. I don't know if
They
clone's the right
sampled your
word,
voice and
sample your
basically
voice
be
and
able
then
to
be able
recreate it.
Yeah,
and, like,
recreate it. Yeah.
So the
So-
thing is, there's
Don't answer your phone
there's
if it's
twofold. If they're like trying to attack you like that with more complex, trying to sample your voice to then use a fake voice, it's been done. The second part is, in my opinion, just as annoying. Where if you respond, whoever tried to reach out to you, like that telemarketer, whoever's cold calling that line, now knows it's an active line. It's a bot doing it, and then they mark this number as active, which means you're gonna get more people calling. Because so they have
Yeah.
bots that do that too. That's in my mind more annoying, but less
Yeah.
dangerous.
Yeah.
Either or reason. If it's the number you don't understand, text it. Like,
Yeah. The question that I wanted to actually pose from all this was TikTok was kind of built on these sounds being sampled from these publishers and dance videos and whatnot. And that kind of got a lot of attention. That like big influx initially. I remember when I first got TikTok, a lot of these videos were girls dancing.
yeah.
Like just say flat out.
Honestly, TikTok in my mind was Instagram
not
on
that anymore,
steroids.
bro.
No, but it was Instagram on steroids in the beginning, in the sense that people were just monetizing their
Creativity? No.
not their creative. No, nothing about it was
yeah.
creative.
It's
They
just
were
like-
monetizing their persona,
Sure.
right, in order to become influencers.
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
literally just
It was
putting
like a
themselves
stepping
out there.
stone
Yeah, they
to-
just put themselves out there in different formats,
Yeah.
doing the same stuff everyone else is doing, just to see how far they can push their own online persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all it was in the beginning. It was like Vine with no purpose.
So do you think that with this happening and people think that this could be the beginning of the end of TikTok? I don't think it's going to be the beginning of the end,
No.
personally.
There's no way.
No, because it's such a big powerhouse in the
This
game
won't be
now.
the reason why.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said before, they'll probably adapt. I like the idea of them just saying, F you, F all the A-list celebrities that we can't use in your music. I'm just
Wow.
going to go to SoundCloud. I actually really respect that. Like, think about it. Now they'll open up the door to saying, we're going to support people who are just trying to make it. Come over to our platform and do it.
Yeah.
You're in the minority of people that I've heard. Maybe you share the same belief because a lot of people now are saying, "Oh, this is like
It's garbage. I'm not gonna
bullshit,"
use
you
it.
know,
Yeah.
because
Oh, there's some talent out there. Like the song I was telling you about. Like I'm like,
They're gonna plug
Oh,
your.
yeah.
They're gonna plug your
oh,
SoundCloud.
plug my SoundCloud.
no.
No, because I told him like, yo, I found the song of the summer today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this week.
You know
Yeah.
what?
So-
SoundCloud has some of the best
Yeah.
indie DJs.
Yeah,
You wanna
but
name
it's
drop
not.
it?
It's not a SoundCloud artist. It's just
After the pod, show me.
I'll show it to you guys, but I'll drop his name right now. It's
ahead.
like
Yeah, go for
Who's
it.
like
I don't know if
coming?
you know him. He's a YouTube guy. His name's Young Philly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Philly
yeah.
with Chunks.
I do know him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he dropped a new
He
song.
dropped a new song.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you
It's
heard
fire?
it?
No, I
Well,
haven't heard it.
hold on. When I say he dropped a new song, is that his only song?
No,
I don't know if
it?
that's his only song.
I've only
but
seen
he
one.
has done like freestyles and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So So it's a rap
But
song. No, it's not a rap
no,
song.
it's like an Afro
pop.
beat
Oh,
pop.
cool.
Yeah.
Bro, like the crazy,
Yeah.
this is a side tangent, but Chunks, this guy, he's like so talented to the point where he fully believes, and he has connections throughout the industry, Drake and all these people like
Yeah.
know him. He said that if it wasn't for Islam and he
His
is
belief.
super religious now more than he ever was. And he's like, guys, don't get it twisted. Like if I wanted to, I really do believe in my heart I could be one of the biggest UK artists. That takes cojones to
Yeah.
say, right? But he says, I've recorded tracks in the past. I've never released them, and I will never ever release them just because I'm so tied to my faith. But he dropped like a freestyle about some merch that he made, and it was just a freestyle, but he was also like a little bit singing, some falsetto with it, and it was so
Was
good.
it like a Will Smith version, like super clean because of his faith, right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Clean in the sense that like,
Like
he wasn't saying
lyrically, yeah.
swearing
Lyrically?
or
Yeah,
anything.
yeah.
Yeah,
So he Will Smith it. Yeah.
yeah, that's just a side tangent. Like this guy, bro, imagine being so talented, but like you're tied to your faith. You're like, I could probably make X millions here, but I'm gonna give this up just.
Yeah, it's
solely
good for him.
Yeah,
No,
respect.
it's if that's what he believes, that's the
Yeah,
right
yeah.
choice to make. And
No,
honestly,
respect.
you know what? That reminds me of, you remember when Pop Smoke passed away? Did you guys hear I don't know if it's a rumor, but I think someone told me that he's Muslim, or he was Muslim. And they followed that up by saying, like, there's not mufti, but you know those imams who are on Instagram? They're all like, man, like, now that he's passed away, I know you guys like his music, but just stop listening to it. And the whole purpose being, the more we listen to it now that he's passed, the more hardship that will follow him to wherever he ended up, right? Like, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's fair.
But I guess that's what made Chunks come to the decision, saying,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, he said at one point like it was very hard in his life because he was split between two avenues. He's like,
Yeah.
like I could go down this entertainment industry, which is where he is right now. He actually has a podcast too.
Yeah.
We're talking about it, but like
So funny.
and the other, bro, you copied us. And we started first, and the other avenue was more of like the music artists, and yeah, you'll find clips where like the guy can sing, the guy can rap. He's like low key like a Swiss Army knife of a
100%. Because
Artist,
if you've
yeah.
seen him with when he had the Tottenham players over, what's it, shooting free kicks?
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
Yeah.
the guy can nail a free
Yeah.
kick, bro. And on top of that, then he knows Hindi randomly.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's talented.
yeah, he has
But-
yeah. Lots of skill.
But yeah, Young Philly song's called Gray. I
Gray.
think it has like 2 million views right now.
And then
It
after
was
It's only been
weird.
out
It
for a
was
week.
weird getting used to him singing in a
Singing?
music video.
Yeah.
But
So you've listened to it?
I
I've
have.
heard.
I saw the snippet, whatever
snippet?
the
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, so after this, we'll get 2,001,000.
Yeah, I don't know what's at now, but yeah, give it a shot. Yeah.
So my last thing to close this topic off is: do you think that big corporations could follow suit, like advertisers, like how this big music publishing group said, okay, we're not going to continue our contract with you, TikTok, because of XYZ? Do you think other big corporations could follow suit, and do you think that will affect TikTok in the long run?
So is the ask that UMG is going to basically leverage other advertising companies that they do business with, saying ditch them too because I'm having
Well,
this
because
beef
they're a
with
big
them?
player in the game.
No,
in
but is that
terms
what
of
you're saying?
music. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody will willingly give up how much advertisement TikTok actually
Brings
has.
in. That's what I was thinking.
That being said, I actually don't know how much UMG generates for them
Generates,
either. Like
yeah.
if they're forced to choose between the two, they're gonna go with the higher amount. I don't know what that is.
I mean, if they're able to have Drake, Eminem, Rihanna on their label, I'm sure they're making a lot
Yeah,
of
but
money.
if you're
and
going to get siloed to
No, but it's not just how much are they making.
just them.
How much are they holding
true.
over their head by saying,
Yeah,
"Hey, if
yeah,
you cut
yeah.
business with me,
yeah.
you know what I mean, and go to TikTok, like,
Yeah.
how much is that really costing them?"
So you don't think this is something that could affect a platform like TikTok moving forward?
It might be like
a
a bump in the road,
Okay.
but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
I told you, if anything will be the death of them, it's going to be when countries start to impose rules on them specifically.
Yeah.
So,
He's
so-
Singaporean, bro. Relax.
Yeah, that's
Relax.
a good segue, bro. They're
Great segue.
So,
Got you on the ad libs.
bro. That's nice. That's a smooth transition. So,
Wow,
so the CEO.
he's making notes now.
What?
Go
Go ahead. Go ahead.
The CEOs of Discord, TikTok, Meta, and Instagram. Zuckerberg, the CEO of TikTok, Shu Chu, which I feel for these CEOs a little bit because when they show up to the United States Senate and they're sitting there, and you got people who I think don't really know the real ins and outs of this industry of social media. Bro, some of these people that are asking these questions are, like, God rest his soul, like as old as my grandpa, like just like old people And I'm not hating on old people. It seems like they brought these CEOs and
Yeah.
just started. It was like a roast session.
Roast session.
Well, how many times have we discussed as a joke with
Yeah.
our friends, like to have somebody up there on the stage and then just roast them, right?
Yeah.
That's what it felt
But
like.
now
in
you
there.
have like a bunch of grandpas being like,
I didn't watch a lot of it. Maybe like a snippet or two, because then I'm like, oh fuck this bullshit. But
Well,
like,
I watched
I'll
some
wait
of the
till the
highlights.
end.
Yeah.
I also didn't have time to watch all of
Yeah.
it. I just know what was going on
Yeah.
briefly.
So yeah, on Wednesday, yesterday, the same day, the same day the UMG thing went down. I drew that. Yeah, I didn't know
Coincidence.
that. I know.
Where's the
Conspiracy theories.
tinfoil hat?
Yeah, we've had this ongoing joke, if you're new to the podcast, where in the beginning we would have conspiracy theories, and then every now and then we'd be like, oh, we should get a segment where we would get tinfoil hats.
We kind of like became very mainstream.
Very. There's no more. There's no more conspiracies coming up.
We sold to the Illuminati.
Yeah. For what?
You know why?
For
Because
1,000 views?
everything's become a conspiracy theory.
No, because
and they're all theories now.
Yeah,
they're
no,
not
no,
conspiracies.
they're all facts now. Yeah,
yeah.
We talked about this. We're like, well, guess why there's no more conspiracy theorists? Because all of them got proven right.
Oh my
Slowly.
god.
all facts.
Oh man, Epstein. Come on, that was a conspiracy theory in the beginning,
That's
and
true.
now
Yeah.
look at us.
The-
We have
the
one of them who
names.
hung themselves, the other one's
Yeah.
on house arrest.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all these files have come out,
Yeah.
which also I really want to spend some time doing a deep dive on. I haven't had time yet.
Next
There's a
episode, if you
lot
want
to
dedicate,
unpack
like,
there.
Yeah.
30
Yeah.
minutes next episode to just go in
Unpack.
Because there's a lot to unpack there. You can't just mention a 5 minutes. and move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, Pedophile Island needs like a full episode at least.
So just to tell you what happened in this Senate meeting. Oh my God. The CEOs of Meta, TikTok, X, and other social media companies went before the U.S. Senate committee to testify because lawmakers and parents have grown more concerned about the effects of social media on young people's lives. This is where I want your opinion. So as I read that, what did the things that popped into your mind?
He's torn in between the two, aren't you?
No, because
Are you talking about me?
I want to share something, but I want to wait to see what you guys share,
Say?
and then
You
'cause
always
I don't
ask
want
for
my
us
opinion.
first. You go.
I think that having the CEOs of these companies all together in one spot, which by the way, some of them were
Subpoenaed.
Subpoenaed.
to be there, and Mark Zuckerberg and I think the CEO of TikTok just showed up on their own volition.
Yeah.
So they chose to go there, and it just felt like I understand what you're trying to do. I don't want to over-explain here. I understand what you're trying to do. It's good in intention. However, the execution, how it ended up coming out, a lot of these comments, because I read them, were siding with Mark. And props to these CEOs, bro. They're getting grilled, and I bet you they're like, in their mind, they're like, yo, these questions. I don't remember who it was, but somebody in the Senate meeting over there was asking, okay, so to Xiao Zichu, the CEO of TikTok, he's like, do you currently possess a passport of China? He's like, no, I'm from Singapore. He's like, have you ever served in the military in China? No, I did my mandatory 2.5 years in Singapore.
Yeah.
And just like repeatedly, he's like he's trying to force him. He's like, so you're telling me that there's nothing you have to hide or to tell us about China? He's like, hey, I don't know how many times I need to tell you this. I'm Singaporean. And I'm like, oh, how to like just grill him?
The level is not going
calm.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know why you're laughing? Because the white guy there got asked all the straightforward questions, and then it's like,
Even
Yeah.
are you illegal?
but the thing is, even that, like with Mark, props to him as well. He's able to like, if that was me, after the second or third time, I'd be like, bro, stop asking me these stupid ass questions. Why am I
Yeah.
even here? And then
Yeah.
just get up and walk out.
Yeah, but here's
But
the
that's a
thing.
bad look on your company.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bad look on your company. It's also a bad look. This is not his first time there.
That is true. But bro, he held his own, and like the thing about this that was so wild, the guy that was asking him these questions, he's like, how do you feel that your platform is one of the platforms that's affecting young children? And he's like, Zuckerberg, if you stand up and turn around, you'll see families who've had children who've killed themselves or who've been affected by your platforms. Would you like to apologize to them? And he's trying to tell him, well, our platform, he's like, and he just talks over him. He's like, no, well, are you going to turn around and apologize? So
It's because he
he's
wants
like-
to get a soundbite out of him.
Yeah.
That's
he
why
got
he's
up,
doing
turned
it.
around, and you see all these people with
Signs.
cameras. No, with
Oh,
cameras,
cameras?
get behind Mark Zuckerberg and try to get that perfect shot for the newspaper,
Yeah.
the front page. And yeah, he turned around. He's like, I'm sorry for everything that your families have gone through. We're doing everything in our power. We're investing a lot of money in his platform to be able to address these concerns so that nobody in the future has to feel some of the pain that your families have felt. I thought that was sincere off the cuff right there. But no, it's like this guy wanted more.
More,
He's like,
yeah.
this is wild. He's like, Mark, you're a billionaire. I'm sure you have a few $1 million to be able to put like towards a fund to be able to help these families, not through Meta, through your own pockets.
Yeah.
Are you willing to do that? He's like, well, you see, that's not, no, Mark, are you willing to do that? And I'm like, wow. So you see what I'm saying? The
Did he end up
execution-
saying yes?
No,
No?
no, he didn't. He smart on him. I feel like he was pressured to turn around and apologize because the guy put him on the
of
spot.
course.
And
Yeah,
so,
but also him knowing he's a public figure and the leader of a company, it was the right move to apologize for what you can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's not. He's not the one posting the content.
no, but they're saying like there should be resources in place. I don't
To
know what the
prevent
resources-
Have
Yeah.
you
certain
have
things.
you met the internet?
because bro, young
Like,
people
yeah.
can be on TikTok or Facebook. Like a 12-year-old couldn't say he's 18.
Yeah, no,
Right?
I get that, but have you met the internet? There's too many things to
Yeah.
go and filter out. Like, okay, I'm okay with the premise of what they're asking. Think about it, like
All of us are, I
age restricted content. That's always been a thing.
It's a concern.
So if you're trying to open the door by saying, hey, people should have the freedom to post whatever they want, true. But at the same time, viewership has always been sort of censored. We've had movie theaters put out R-rated movies.
yeah,
Kids
yeah.
can't go watch that.
And I feel like it's not uniform. And even I was surprised to see the CEO of Discord there, but I guess there's a lot of things.
Oh, it's very toxic
Oh,
there.
okay, okay.
Yes.
Very
I'm
toxic.
not an active user. And
Yeah.
Okay.
With like Discord, it's a bit different because you have like the people who moderate their own servers can put controls onto their own servers, right? Like create bots for certain. It's like Twitch, right? They
Yeah,
have
yeah.
moderators, right?
Mods?
Yeah,
What it
they
is?
have mods and stuff
Okay.
like that, right? So you have those kind of people that go through the chats or whatever. But that's a lot of work, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of money to
Yeah.
be invested. Like imagine how many comments are happening a day or every minute
On the platform?
on any platform right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you're trying to go through
There's
millions
not
and
enough
millions of
people.
different threads.
Yeah, there's not enough people.
This is
to
a-
overlook
Like
every
it's
comment.
it's
This is a very hard thing to address.
Yeah.
Like let's say if you do the movie theater idea or plan where it's like, we'll age check people before we sell them tickets. That way we'll find out who's not allowed to go to the R-rated movie, right? How are you going to do that without taking people's private information? You'd have to do a facial scan or something with an ID to match like they do for SIM cards.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're basically taking personal information, so that's a privacy violation. But on the flip side, if you go and start banning all content because you don't agree with it or parents don't agree with it, then you're infringing on freedom of speech, right?
yeah. Even if you give the power to the creator,
Yeah.
where they have to set like this is PG-13. You have to set the rules on
Yeah.
their post
And then validate.
and validate it.
Yeah.
Like even then they're like, oh, we can get more engagement if we have these kids. It's very tough to even validate those posts because that means you're gonna have a buffer time every time somebody wants to post to validate.
This
So-
is
Right?
one of those things that's going to have to be like an all hands on deck situation. Government needs to do their part and put in some, not rules on them, more like fines. Like if you allow this many content to come through that somehow make it through your content management or your bots to check this stuff,
Yeah, there's always gonna
you,
be things
you
that we
pay a
miss.
fine. And that fine will go towards, I don't know, whatever they want to put it towards, whatever, like a program back for youth or something like that.
You think that can be implemented on a mass scale?
No. So it's not about. I don't want that to be a one-time fix. I'm saying it's all hands on deck. So government can do something like that to do their part. Parents, I know it's hard to hear this. You're gonna have to do your part.
That's what
Yeah.
I was trying to
No,
get
but
to.
here's the thing: you can.
Because
It's
these
not that.
parents were very upset at the CEOs, rightly so. Okay, I understand that, but don't you want to hold your end of the deal and like be a parent? And
You're
be
the
a
one that
monitor?
provided the phone.
Bars,
Right.
facts,
No.
bro.
But hold on. Because I'm going to
Yeah.
tell you where they're coming from now, too. Okay. So it's not as simple as saying, hey, parents, do your job. It's not as simple
No,
as
no,
that.
no.
Because let's say they monitor content. Have you seen some of those YouTube videos that are being, like, they market themselves as, like, oh, snippets from Peppa Pig, right? Like a cartoon show.
Yeah.
But it's some guy just telling them random things because he
Yeah.
puts that thumbnail in. Parents can only do so much. To sit there and watch their phone for them, like, that's impossible.
Yeah.
That's why I said all hands on deck. Government needs to try to implement some sort of fine because companies only understand money. Parents then have to do their job by putting in those parental guidance things on the phone, like
On the
block
phone.
certain content,
There you go.
and on top of that,
Certain websites.
educate them. Then companies have to actually go through and put an effort into monitoring some of their content. Not all of it's going to get picked up, but this is all hands on deck.
That's
if
what
these
you mean by
three,
Yeah.
all hands on deck. Like
yeah, if
everyone
these three people,
working in
there's no
unison?
one-off solution to
Yeah.
fix everything. If these three people, these three groups, parents, companies, and the government don't work together, then nobody cares. The only way to get things done and save the kids, really, if you want, is everybody got to do their part.
Well, the fact that it got to a point where it got in front of the U.S. Senate and
It's overdue.
all this. Yeah, but I stand by what I said, and I still really. I mean, I guess I got your opinions right now about it. The execution was poor.
Because it was a very hostile approach.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was basically
But you can get
parents.
the message across, bro. They had screenshots of like the policies on Instagram. I forgot of which specific policy, but it was to address something about the safety of children and like I think it said something about being a certain age to have. Like, you can't be 6 year olds with an open account. But then again, how would they
Verify
Verify
that
that.
without stealing
verify
private
that
information.
without stealing
Yeah.
private information. So, but the way they went about it, it was very like I'm yelling at you. I'm higher than you, and you just sit there and have to listen to me.
But you know what's going on. So the parents all came up and said, "We're frustrated with this." Took out their frustration on the government.
Yeah, well,
Government's trying to say, "Not our fault. Blame the billionaires."
Yeah.
So then they put the pressure on there.
yeah, but
But
this
then,
can't be one or two parents. This
yeah,
must
but
have
then the
been
billionaires are
an
going back to the
influx of
government saying,
parents consistently been complaining.
Yeah, over the
for-
years, though, they build up. Fortunately, this happens a lot on the other side of social media that you don't see.
"Yeah, I mean, cyberbullying is nothing
Right.
new to address some of the
Yeah,
suicides.
yeah.
Nothing new. Has it been
Yeah.
exacerbated?
Oh,
I
that's
actually
a
don't
whole
know.
nother-
Probably, but." You know, who's to say what content is the most scary that's out there
Yeah.
that's going to affect the kids? At the end of the day, I don't like the trend I've been seeing where people have just been giving their kids phones at younger and younger ages. I'm not going to blame the parents totally either on
I
this
think the
one.
majority of people will agree with you.
And they should. That's one level of control the parents can control. But the government does need to do their part.
It's hard to implement
But bro, like I
because of
do
the
see-
environment of where the kids are now.
We
Because,
talked about
like-
this before, the Chinese TikTok, and how their algorithm magically contains more educational programming. There has to be a balance where you say, I'm not going to infringe on people's privacy and access, or sorry, their right to access all information that's out there. But if you already have an algorithm prioritizing something, you've broken that rule. So how about we prioritize some more educational videos in your algorithm rather than other things for accounts aged younger?
yeah. I
But
hear
then
what
you
you're
got to
saying.
verify. So I'm saying that I don't have the solution.
lot of
I don't
variables
expect
at play
any of
here.
us to come up with it in the next 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But the point is, these three groups need to work together, and something along these lines needs to be done.
I feel like there's a bigger level we can go into this, which is these parents that sometimes feel, and I've heard it from people around me who indeed are parents and have children, they'll be like, work, and they come back, they're exhausted, and they're like making food and whatnot, and they're kind of running around left and right when they are with the kid, and the kid is kind of just being a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah.
Some parents have a longer leash with that, more patience. Other parents are like, do whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I'm not going to blame the parents 100% on that either. Who's to tell them, oh, what your version of parenting is wrong? Everyone needs a
now-
break.
Yeah.
But now imagine in what I'm saying right now, if the parents were able to maybe not work crazy amounts, have more time, feel less stressed, then be able to work.
Yeah.
You're
That's
laughing at
that's
me.
not happening.
No. Hold on.
Or like the wages
Your
get
algorithm's
better.
been very top G lately.
Yeah.
Because the point you're arguing is you
Because
need
bro,
to-
what you're saying is almost impossible to get the government, the parents, like to get all three
Hey, Ali,
big parties.
if it's
together, work in
impossible,
unison.
something is flawed. I get that it's unlikely.
100%.
Yeah, right.
Who's disagreeing that something is not?
No.
flawed?
Something's flawed with the system if those three people can't agree on the simple fact that children need more protection than adults from the trash that's online, right?
Now,
that,
what's crazy
that
is
baseline
if you
consensus
isolate
has to be
each
made.
group and you say to the parents the exact question you just asked,
Yeah.
oh, do you think these platforms can be dangerous for children and they're getting like exploited in certain ways? Parents would say yes. If you talk to the CEOs isolated one-on-one, I think they would be like, yeah, as a whole, we do our best, but there are holes in our platform though. We're not perfect, and certain people can take advantages. And if you ask the government, I'm sure they would say the same thing. But when you get them all together, it just becomes like you were saying, like a very yelling, and there's not much progress being done. Like, so I saw roughly only like 4 or 5 minute snippet highlights of this, and by the end of it, I was like, there wasn't much progress. Maybe.
But that's why they keep on doing it, right? Because they're
hopes?
gonna push the needle slowly,
Oh,
slowly,
okay.
slowly,
You know what I
slowly,
just
Maybe
thought
slowly.
that's
of?
what it is. Maybe that's what it is.
That's how it is.
No, but you know what I just thought of? So they could have, like, Microsoft has an authenticator app. They can have an authenticator app for parents who wish to install that on their children's phone. If I have a child and I know I'm giving them a phone, why don't I install a parental authenticator, right, to verify their age? And then that way they can filter through content. And you don't specify age, you just say child.
You can add
So-
MFA to the apps.
No, I took the authentication part too literally. But basically, it's a notification going to the parents saying, hey, your child is trying to access 18 plus content.
It's already there.
I know it's already there, but TikTok doesn't have it. There's
I
no
don't know.
authenticate.
I don't know if it's on
Right.
TikTok.
So
I know
no,
YouTube has it.
right. So what I'm saying is that base idea, because again, it's a three-way policing job. The company's got to do their part, government's got to do their part. This is how parents might be able to have an additional hand in making sure that the content they're viewing, at least to the best of their abilities, isn't going to destroy their children's brains,
Here.
right? So that way they can have, like, all these apps can have a parental section, and as long as they set that up for them, the parents have done most of their due diligence.
Yeah. So like, there's obviously, I'm not a parent yet, but like, there's on these apps, like, there's probably their parental sections and stuff that have some sort. Maybe it's not as diverse as you need it, but
But
it's
it-
eventually it'll get there through these.
I more
stuff
meant like
to
a
get more.
centralized application, right? So that way across all social media, because they had the heads of everybody there.
If it's going to do centralized, you have to go to the OS.
No,
So you're gonna have to go to talk to Apple and Samsung.
no. Yeah, I get that, but you don't really need to get to that level, right? You can have, like Microsoft has for their products, you can have one for Snapchat and all them. But the point is that something along the lines of having a version that parents can authenticate content, and then, like we were talking about the companies, they really need to drill down on, at least if you're not going to flag content, grade it. And grade it on the level of what's mature, you know what I mean? So that would be easier than seeing content and garbaging it right away. Or trying to monitor it by flagging it and taking it down.
I just think this conversation is kind of centering around that you plug two holes and then like another hole pops up in terms of like you can't. I don't think there's a permanent fix.
You won't be able to
solution
satisfy all three till
Ali,
one of them has to.
when
talk
has there
to each
ever
other.
been a permanent fix on the first try?
Yeah.
There's not, but at least
So you're saying
try.
progression, like you're
Yeah.
saying, move
Yeah.
the needle. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Then
Well, think about it, right?
can
You
settle on that.
you put a right step in the right direction. If that doesn't work, it doesn't mean you turn around and scrap it all. You
even if
continue
the
making,
conversation is just being talked about more and more, like that could be considered a small W for the parent side. Like, okay, like I got to see Mark Zuckerberg to the face and tell him, and he apologized to parents all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, it won't bring their kids back. I'm sure they're still frustrated, but at least for the people at home who have a genuine interest in this,
Yeah.
it might be enough to
It
give
creates
them some
more
hope.
exposure
Yeah.
for sure. On a happier note.
Yeah. On a happier, actually,
That wasn't that sad. It was more like,
no, I
No.
can see someone might be like, "Oh, look, it's a bit bleak," but hey,
Yeah.
stop giving
we're
YouTube
just a
to your
reporter.
kids.
No,
Yeah.
we're not a reporter. Look,
Yeah, we're just
YouTube-
reporting
YouTube-
the information.
YouTube's fine. I find their algorithm, their parental stuff
So
is
you know what's
pretty
funny?
good.
I
but-
got a lot of complaints from parents that I know saying YouTube was one of the main culprits for kids' content or things that are advertised as kids' content
It's
not being
actually,
for kids.
Yeah,
Time
actually, I did hear about that. That's
Yeah.
that's also
so,
stuff.
as somebody who once upon a time tried to dabble in YouTube and now who posts these podcasts on YouTube, when you click upload, so there's a subsection in the settings where it says yes, made for kids, or no, not made for kids.
Yeah,
And I've watched videos where they're like, if you click no, not made for kids, you're more likely to YouTube. Their algorithm is more likely to push it out to more users.
yeah,
If you click yes for kids, you're kind of making like a niche
niche.
thing.
Because just for YouTube
So
kids,
maybe
right?
that aids, yeah. So maybe that aids to like a lot of people want views, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be like,
No, but the people who are doing what he's saying, they're on there for ill intentions.
They don't care about
They
the
don't
niche.
care
They're
for the
after the
views.
niche. Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to remember
what I
that
mean?
we're in a world now where I'm sure some of those parents, when they went to complain to Senate, weren't there for cyberbullying. They're probably there for sexual exploitation of kids. That was probably another big one. And man, child trafficking, don't get me started. Like right now,
well, that's enough.
I still have no clue how that industry is viewed as that lucrative. $150 billion was human trafficking. And of children trafficking, I'll get the figure at some point. It was such an insane amount that I'm wondering why they haven't tackled. Anyways, we'll get into it. But for how much it's valued at, they're really not tackling it for its weight class. I'll put it that way.
you know why? Because the elites are part of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a whole island dedicated to it, right?
Yeah.
Next
so.
episode, talk about Epstein and all that. Stay tuned.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
On a lighter, I mean, to be honest, like you said, I
Don't chew
think
the
this
hand
is-
that feeds you. You know.
I don't think this has been a very like bleak. It's just been more realistic optimism.
Yeah, the world's
It's-
shit.
That's not realistic.
I feel like we've always had
Dude,
this
this
opinion, though,
world's
this
Yeah.
diverse opinion split down this couch, where, and like, I don't know, I see this more as a theme where like, we both agree, world shit. But at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, let's try and fix it. And sometimes you're just like, let it burn.
So facts.
we're screwed anyway. So why bother put in the effort?
No, but here's the thing. I guarantee you that it's probably split outside there as well. Like if you pull the whole
Yeah.
world, I'm pretty sure half is with him, half is on my. But the point is, we can all agree the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
premise
of
is there. The premise is there, you know? The
Yeah,
premise.
there's so many issues
The
around the world.
acknowledgement.
For anyone to say no, there's a the world's thriving more than it's ever been, and they pull out science and data to back it up. You're like, all right, man, leave the numbers aside and look at like
Reality.
shit that's been going on and continues to go on.
When they say it's better, they're looking at the world
Genocide,
as a
all
whole.
that stuff,
Yeah,
too.
no, but they looked to the world as a whole. Now, given your understanding of, let's say, the pay disparity, right,
Okay.
or the disparity of wealth,
Okay.
what was the figure I gave you the other day about the G7 countries? They like account for 39% of the world's population, but also account for like 70% of its wealth or something stupid like that. So that disparity right there shows you, yeah, the world might be doing great overall, but how does that disparity look on a map?
It could be one section just carrying the whole world, you know?
Bro,
Which it was. It was like 1, 2, 3 dots up in Europe, like a bit of Europe, 2 places in North America and Mexico, and then like Australia and New Zealand. Those are the only points in the map highlighted, and just see dead space, like in between.
so when you say that, the first thing pops into my mind is the stat where if you have clean running water, if you have a roof over your head, and if you're able to make enough money to feed yourself and your family, you're in like the top 3-4% of the world or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, damn,
It's crazy.
man.
So, but it used to
Like,
be here that
damn.
like, oh, can I feed my family for like the next few months? Now it's like, can I do it for the day?
Yeah.
Man, I've been seeing a lot of those like
A lot of immigrants that are coming now are dipping because they're like, yo, it's too expensive to live here. And we're like, I mean,
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
So have you been seeing and I'm not going to make this super political, but have you been seeing some of these, and I see it on TikTok, and it's a trend of people saying like, hey Trudeau, like I went to the grocery store to buy this and I don't know if I can make ends meet. Just wanted to say thanks, man. Like it's like a whole trend. It's like a compilation of people like complaining about how life has changed so horribly for them, and then ending it with, hey, thanks, man. Like
Yeah,
I haven't
'cause,
seen
they
that
don't know how
trend,
to
but
deal with it.
like,
no, but
I agree.
no, the reason why I don't want to make it too political is not all about him. There's other
Yeah.
problems that's going on.
Other factors.
But the stories are getting so sad for first world. I know that makes it sound like not as bad, but it's still
No,
pretty
but
bad.
like we've always said it where on the west side we're kind of sheltered. Like we don't see what the other parts of the world are
We are for
doing
sure
and
sheltered.
right?
For sure.
But
sheltered.
now we're kind of in that struggle and we're all breaking
and we're
apart.
freaking out.
We're all breaking apart because it's like it's tough, but the world's been eating shit for a while. we've had it nice for a long
We've
time
had it
now,
well, but
you
now
know.
when we taste a little bit, we're like,
Yeah,
oh, we don't
like
this.
reality's setting in, you
I'll
know.
I'll get just a little bit more political before I drop it, but the reason
we're not gonna make it political, he goes that way.
the reason why I brought this up was because I don't know if you saw Pierre Poilievre on his like most recent tours, and it's all over the internet. He has like a screenshot of a guy's mortgage statement for 1 year. It's over the span of 1 year. It's not a statement, sorry. It's just like it's a snapshot at the end where how much is left, how much have you paid,
yeah.
like that depressing snapshot that everyone
Yes,
sees.
you get it at the end of the year. It's nice.
Yeah, so this was for a gentleman in Toronto. The house was valued at 1.2 million, like that's what he bought it at. Again, in Toronto, that's not that nice of
Yeah.
what you're thinking. It's pretty humble
It's a
for
basic,
middle
yeah,
class.
yeah.
So it's not like he went out and bought an insane mansion. So at 1.2 million is what he bought it. He's on a variable interest rate. And after a year, he paid, and this was his main point to attack Trudeau, saying like, "Thanks, man." Like same thing
Yeah.
like those
Yeah,
TikToks.
yeah.
He at the end of the year, he paid $17,000 in principal. $74,000 went towards interest in 1
1
year.
year. Crazy.
His timeline to pay off that I think somebody did their own math on was 69 years. Now, obviously, you're not amortized over
Yeah.
69 years.
Yeah.
but-
Damn.
yeah, that was just going around, and I remember like I just saw that, and I wanted to bring it up because I found that really funny. Like all these TikToks coming out, being like, "Hey, thanks, man," and then he comes out as all this is happening and like brings out this printed statement, and he's like, "Yeah, buddy," I don't know if it's his buddy, but
Yeah. Well, that's
it's still sad.
that's
at
the
the end
thing,
of the
bro.
day.
Like they say, and I know we're staying in this political state right now, but like
No, but this is people's
like
problems.
the housing market
No, it's interesting.
just goes up and down for everybody's favor, right? Like this guy wants it to go up because his value of his home goes up. This guy wants it to go down because his interest rate's too high and he can't make a mortgage. So it's like this constant battle between these guys. But obviously one side, which is like the buyer seller market, is getting higher than the other. But now the government, which is always saying they're trying to help,
Yeah.
are just like doing the opposite and just making it worse for everybody because they just want it to level off where they think it's going to happen. But it's just rough.
Do you think there's a person that can come into office? Is that the right expression?
Yeah.
To really
No.
steer the ship.
There's
No.
too much damage that's been done where
So-
you won't see it in the foreseeable future.
I'll give you my summary of it,
You're
of
saying
what I
I'm
think.
screwed. 'Cause
Okay,
no matter how much I save, no matter what, there's
No, savings. If you're gonna save, you're never gonna catch up.
So just
You have
enter.
to
Just jump in the deep end.
you have to have a lump sum to go in. Now, however you create that lump sum, like if you're saving $1,000 a month, like with the market going up by 8%,
12
let's say
years,
every
yeah.
year, no interest rate, no savings account interest rate is going to help you save up to that point
You'd also
or
need
whatever.
12
Okay, now let
years
me
of
ask you a
saving like
question.
that.
Right? Like it's just like you can't catch up. You need a lump sum somehow,
Okay,
whatever
in that
that
case,
is.
How would you guys feel if I started selling cocaine? Because it's clearly
Well, allegedly.
I'm never gonna.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically, sorry.
No, like if I just start becoming a drug dealer
Yeah.
and like really try to make it out there, because
You might
clearly
talk faster
I'm
on the
not
pod. Might be a benefit. You might be
Listen.
at 2x.
I don't want to yell. I don't want to yell. I'm gonna control my emotions here and not have a back and forth with you the same way the Senate and the CEOs had their back and forth. Okay, I'm working on it. Why?
Yeah. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
create a lump sum like that and then go into the market. But like
That might be the move.
but if
It's a
you're on
joke,
a 9 to 5 job, it's going to be very difficult for you to kind of
of course,
go
of course.
there, right?
And I think
And that
most
and
people are
that's
dealing with that.
yeah, because
Especially the
that
middle
because that
class.
was the dream, right? For the middle
Yeah.
class is
Yeah.
to own a home and find a
Yeah.
job, start a family, right?
Honestly, could you make
that
the
was
point?
the dream. I don't know if that's a dream anymore, but
no. At this point, I'm Jimmy. They're trying to survive. Day to day.
there's no dream.
Bro, do you think that people that are in the lower classes in society in Canada might actually be having such a handout from the government or like some assistance that it's almost you can make the argument that being middle class is more stressful? Or no, that's like a barbaric statement to make.
I don't want to say my opinion.
Okay.
No, go for it. You pay your taxes.
No,
You know
no,
what?
no.
You said you pass on that.
No,
You
no,
pay
it's
your
not that.
taxes.
It's not that. It's not that.
You've bought your rights.
Yeah, like obviously at some level, like when you're in the middle class, you're feeding both sides. That's how I see it. You're feeding the rich and you're feeding the poor with your taxes. So you're in that position where it's like you're helping both, but you're not getting help.
If it doesn't make sense, does it make total sense?
Oh, it does.
Okay,
It does
because
for me.
for anyone who
But I
doesn't
wonder
make
for the
sense,
viewers if it
I'm
does.
I'm
Or the
I'm gonna
listeners.
simplify. I think what you're trying to say, which is we're feeding both sides, as in, rich people pay more in tax, monetary amount,
Yes.
because they get taxed by a percentage. But because there's less of the elite rich out there, most of the burden falls onto the middle class, and that's where that statement comes
Yeah.
out that the middle class bear the brunt of whatever the tax.
Because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Well, that's
Yeah.
why I was saying.
So you kind of
And
you're
then the
paying.
middle's kind of neglected in a way, or like not neglected.
We're not elected. We're
the middle
we're
child,
needed.
middle child
Yeah,
syndrome.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, so
Middle
the
child
opposite.
syndrome. That's all it is.
We're
Okay.
needed to keep everybody happy except for us.
So we're the crutches.
No.
But like, I'm not gonna complain and be like, yo, if you cut, like, don't take my taxes anymore, like, because this family won't survive.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because of the funding or the programs they're having, which is
I smell
it's,
segue.
you know, like that's not me.
Well, here's so like just to lighten the mood a little bit, bro.
Well, no, I smell segue as in I did a whole research deep dive rabbit hole thing into
Yeah.
very close related to this. It was universal basic income.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
the idea that the government will organize a payment plan where everybody will get a blank check of certain X amount, and which is like a COVID relief.
COVID,
like imagine like COVID relief, but now fully implemented all the time.
I don't know about
No.
that.
So
Yeah.
that's what UBI means. Now that can be implemented multiple different ways.
How many people got lazy, bro, and just
Sad.
relied on that, quit their jobs, and just bring it in.
Before we get into, I'll address what you just brought up right now. Whether you agree with it or not,
It's needed.
at the time during
at the
COVID,
time, yeah, but what you're saying
It
is
was
not
needed.
COVID right now. What you're saying is,
no, I'm talking about something else. I just wanted to address the COVID thing because that will come up. People are very frustrated with that.
but there are bad apples, right?
Yeah, there are bad apples. That's always going to be the case. Doesn't mean you leave the other 70% behind.
No, for
no, I
sure
know,
not.
but I'm giving my opinion
Okay,
on it.
fair.
COVID relief, was it a waste of money overall? Yeah, money was wasted, but it wasn't a waste totally, because the last time we had an economic recession back in 2008, they bailed out the banks and the car companies and
housing market
all these
crashed.
corporations instead of bailing out the people. This time, they bailed out the people.
Yeah.
And everything stayed, whether, COVID was really messed up, but relatively, we all survived.
We survived. Yeah.
And that's an insane statement to make, because businesses were literally shut down. Yeah, it wasn't probably the best way to do it, but in a pinch, that saved a lot of people.
Universal basic income.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's the idea of universal basic income, is give everybody a basic income, right? Like something, anything. They test pilot these all the time, and usually for the homeless. So, like Noor was saying, when you middle class is double, we're paying both sides. We're paying for the lower income for all these social benefits, and the higher income, because it's not that many of them. We're covering most
we're
of the bill.
covering most.
In this case, what they wanted to do, and there's multiple foundations that do this. One of them is the Miracle Fund Relief. I don't know. I'll link it. That's in the States. They have a system of handing out a $500 like check to homeless people, and it's a pilot program. So it's not all the homeless. It's a select amount.
This is the States?
Yeah, this is the States. This one, there's different ones across the country.
Yeah,
I think this one was Denver, I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, there's pilot programs all over. So California has a lot of them. Denver had one. And the idea is you just give homeless people per diem, like a blank check. Now, before we get into their successes and their results, a lot of them were based off the Canadian system. And I had no idea we did this. In Vancouver, they implemented...
Of course, Vancouver.
Yeah, of course, Vancouver.
Of course. I was thinking when he said this, it has to be Vancouver.
Yeah.
They implemented this, but theirs was more insane. So, like the Miracle Relief Fund, they were doing $500 a month, and no questions asked. In Vancouver, they did a one-time payment of $7,500. But I think the pool was smaller. Again, I'll link all this stuff. I kind of like read it very briefly. I'll link it over. But what they noticed was, and again, straight to homeless people. What they noticed was a 39% decrease in people living homeless. 39%.
so it
And the
achieved-
program only went on, well, it was one-time payment, but the program was only monitored up to 6 months. So in that amount of time, they had a 39% decrease. And it wasn't like decrease as in they're renting motels or no, they found permanent living solutions.
I was gonna
Granted
say,
that they're,
because after the 6 months, like it could just be
no.
the reset.
Yeah, but
Go
granted,
back
to where they were.
granted, they need to, find steady incomes and
course,
stuff like
of course.
that. And I'm assuming they have done that. That's why they found permanent housing, but they could lose those jobs. Like nothing's guaranteed in life. But
Yeah.
still, to bring 39% of the homeless population of your study
In a
group,
subset. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well,
this goes into what Nur was saying now, which is, and I pose this question to both of you. That was one success story. There have been others, and there's also been failures. Ontario had one as well. And we can link these documents. I'm not going to get too far into it. But do you think a system like that,
could be like beneficial to
should
like,
these pilot
addressing-
programs be piloted again across multiple cities in Canada, or should we just start a program for homeless people to receive UBI?
Honestly, man, I might be in the minority of people, and I know you might give me some pushback for this, but I feel like the people that benefited from the stimulus checks, if you will,
Yeah.
during COVID, were helpful. But I know people who bought a brand new car with all the money that they've accumulated from the stimulus checks that they didn't really need. Brand new Camry, brand new, like from the lot. I was like, now I say this to say, you're asking if it could be a one-time thing or it could be maybe divided up, right?
There's
Like
multiple
stage.
ways
It could-
to make
it could
this
be a
work,
monthly
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Now, if I'm going solely off of the 39% improvement in Vancouver, wow, that's a big difference.
And their homeless problem. You went there. You saw it. Like,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
own
it's,
eyes.
it's tough, especially they have that street where it's just,
Yeah. Tent city.
oh my god, it's just like homeless everywhere. I mean, it doesn't hurt to give it a shot.
so you would argue for more pilot programs just to see
Yeah,
and
just give it a
study it
shot,
long
but-
term.
Yeah, give it a shot because clearly what we're doing, and like I don't know how bad it is in Canada. I'd have to look at the numbers, but homelessness in Canada is pretty high, I would think.
Honestly, my personal belief is even if you have 100 people who suffer from homelessness across the country, that's still too many. Like, our
that sounds
winters
nice.
are no,
Yeah, our
sounds
winters are
good.
rough.
no, man. Like,
true. Okay.
I have moments where like I'm like everybody. I'll get annoyed if you bang on my window too many times for change. Of course I will. But don't think I don't feel bad. It's just, I got things to do. I'm going places. but in my heart, no, I feel bad. And like we walk outside sometimes in minus 15 and we complain in our
Well-
fucking like coats and
Well,
goose
to-
jackets.
So there was a report that did say Canada is the second most drug addicted country in the world. So maybe that also.
Well, yeah,
aids
bro.
the
Weed's
homelessness.
legal, so
Yeah, they never said which drug.
Yeah, that is true. And I briefly looked
Yeah,
at it.
who's number one? Amsterdam.
No, the
Netherlands?
U.S.
Speaking of which,
That would
there
make
was a
sense.
mayor in Amsterdam trying to get cocaine legalized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Anyways, well,
like
we'll
UBC.
segue again.
And,
but no, for
so I
sure.
do want to
that-
hit you with some
Yeah.
with some like
I think it's
Stats.
related.
stuff in Canada. Yeah, that's somewhat related to this. Canadians as a whole, regardless of their age bracket, are ending their lives through medically assisted death.
Suicide, yeah.
So I think the term is called euthanasia,
Yeah.
at a speed that outpaces every other nation in the world.
Well, yeah. Didn't we make it like super legal now?
Super accessible.
Accessible.
Accessible and
sorry?
legal,
So-
yeah.
That's,
Like you
that
can
was
just walk into a hospital and be like, "Yo, euthanize me."
I believe you have to be
I think
suffering.
there's
and
more
they,
to it.
They have identifiers to see if you're suffering.
Oh.
Now it's supposed to be like a peaceful ending for people who are probably living a pretty painful
life. Yeah.
and there's like no end in sight type of thing. Like that's the intention of it. But like, what's stopping someone from be like, I'm having these thoughts and I've been dealing with it, and then, but yeah, it's outpacing every other
enemy.
country in the world, man. I was like, wow.
That's insane. But again, we offered it. Like we kind
Yeah.
of knew this was gonna.
Because you made it more accessible. Like, okay, case in point, like let's say marijuana, right?
Yeah.
Like when cannabis was illegal,
Yeah.
Less people were willing
less
to
people
try
were
it.
willing to try it or
Even though
even
it's
have it
still
around,
allowed.
right?
Okay.
Once it became legalized, even the people who never thought of doing it ended up trying it because now it's
Yeah.
easier to get to.
Yeah.
Now, let's say you had a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, and then you're like, fuck it, I'm done.
end it?
I'm just going to go. Now, if you're going to the hospital, you've been doing clinical appointments or
Yeah.
whatever, you check off the boxes, you can go through the sleep
Faith,
quickly.
man. That's
I just
amazing.
want to say,
Faith could be powerful.
to cover your ass, Ali, I just want to say that we're in no way condoning the link between homelessness and euthanasia.
No, I tried to because I really wanted to touch on this
I took
subject.
the segue because that's what I brought intention wise.
I know, but we brought it up like right after we
Yeah.
just said, "Oh, they're straight on the system."
To the listeners and to the viewers, I really wanted to touch on that, and we're like nearing the end of the episode, so that's why I want to touch on it. But it does sound like there's a correlation. No, look, we haven't found anything that correlates homelessness with going to the hospital and trying to end your life.
So sorry,
Yeah.
you did say you want to pilot more programs for UBI.
yeah.
Now, are you okay with
give it a
that
shot.
if, let's say, at the end of the day, pilots are
Well, yeah, ask him.
successful? All right, sorry. Go ahead. And then I'll ask both of you.
Okay, no,
Wow.
fine. Give us
I'll
your,
ask-
your
I don't know
third
why.
opinion.
I'll
Yeah,
ask
I don't like it.
end of discussion. Period.
I'll ask both of you the follow-up question I have ready, I guess. But yeah, no, go for it.
For me, honestly, bro, like the biggest thing,
Screw
as long as there's a lot of compliance on it, where like they're just not just giving them a check, go do your thing, like that's not happening. I don't want that to happen. I don't agree with that.
You're basically saying if the pilot program that's, let's say, put out there and wanting to be the pilot program that they want to implement,
I think I
it
agree with you.
pertains with having cash only, like here's your cash, do whatever you want with it. If that's the system that they're trying
That's
to
a no.
push forward,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a no.
It has to be something that's regulated and there's some sort of compliance towards it.
Okay.
Because
How
you know,
about-
people, he even just touched on it. Like if you start giving people money, they will
Bro, it's human
use
nature.
it for leisure more than sustenance or survival. And that could be a big case why a lot of them are in those certain situations. So now you could, the percentages of you trying to reduce could go the other way.
You're
But if you put these
perpetuating a pattern that you're trying to stop or trying to reverse.
Yeah, because you could make people more accessible to their habits
So
and their
many follow-ups
addictions.
now. But
We got about 7 minutes.
So my next follow-up is because you've studied psychology. Now, Ali, signaling to what Noor's saying about drug use and misuse of funds, right? So mainly we're with homeless, we're worried about drugs, alcohol, stuff like that, monies that are being wasted that we handed to
Well,
them.
this is assuming that the basic human needs are met. Like you have a roof, and
Well, no, at this point,
we're
it's,
talking about homelessness now, but
in this situation, you want to make sure homeless people are using the money correctly because taxpayers have given them this money.
Okay.
So make sure they're using it correctly and try to better their lives. And you guys are worried about how the funds might be spent.
no, what he's saying and what I'm
Yeah.
actually agreeing with him is to not just be like, here you go.
Yeah.
Close
But-
the door.
no,
No,
End
no,
of story.
I
See you in a
understand.
month.
Your worry is that the funds will go towards drugs or something
No,
illicit.
No, just not
Like
misused.
not towards things that could really help them because they might be misguided and
Yeah.
they don't really. It's like, oh, sick! I just got $8,000. Okay,
Yeah.
and they might put it towards something that might put them back into where
So,
they are.
The reason why I'm
doesn't have to be
asking,
drugs.
the
It
reason why
doesn't
I'm
have to be
asking, yeah, I know, but like something illicit with the money,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the reason why I'm asking it that way is because as a student of psychology,
yeah.
most of the people who have reliance on drugs or problems with gambling, let's say anything illicit where they're form an addiction to it
Yeah.
and then waste money on it, usually comes or is exacerbated by a situation or circumstance like they are
Stuff.
living in,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
If you're homeless, odds are you will rely more on drugs than the average person will because your life is so terrible. And you'll be more inclined by the life around you to probably
For a
make those
way out.
decisions.
Here's
For a
my
way out.
pushback. Here's my pushback on that. How do you explain that with people who are wealthy and who have an abundance in a lot of things they do, but they turn to drugs? And
Yeah,
they
but that's
turn
just
to these
boredom.
things?
You have the power, the money to do everything. You're bored. So then you take drugs. That's how the cocaine problem in Miami started. Getting away from that. My point was that ultimate point was I just wanted your thoughts on the psychology behind it because I believe if you bring people up, those problems on its own will get resolved. You're now giving them a better life. They're not going to want the illicit side.
My
And
proposition to
Yeah,
that
but
is
you're saying
Yeah.
you're gonna hope this happens out of faith.
no, not out of faith, out of statistics. So in the programs that I was reading about in Denver and in California and all that, they did exactly what you guys were warning against, which is a cash payment, do whatever you want with it. But they tracked the payments. They told them it wasn't going to stop. Just when you come back, report how it was spent, and let's see how you're living in
they
6
could
months'
be
time,
capping
10
and
months'
be
time.
like-
Yeah, but even if they cap, right? If they have a name on their lease, they didn't cap about that.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
certain-
yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So-
So like big decisions.
Yeah, they followed through with all of it. And again, no one's going to take the money away from them. So there was an honest survey to the best of their abilities, but verified by, their living situation. So at the end of the day, all of them reported spending less money on drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, even as their lives got better, right? Now, again, that was only a portion of them. Some of them remain homeless. The system's not perfect. It just gives people a chance.
So
And-
from a psychological point of view, because I could give you something that like probably you're not thinking of maybe. So when you are in a very down state, or the like you don't have a lot of serotonin or like a high on life because you're down and you're in the slums and you're beat up. So when someone or some entity gives you a certain amount of money and says do good with this, the human mind, like the thing that rushes to your brain, endorphins, like you're happy. Sometimes when you're at that, I would think most times when you're at that state of happiness and elation, you tend to not think clearly.
Yeah, you impulse buy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
right.
become impulsive for sure.
If
Yeah.
people in the middle class who have basic needs met get money and then splurge, rich people out of boredom, what makes you think people in the lower class who are struggling, get money, don't just want a temporary fix to
100%. And no
feel
one's
like
no one's
life's
saying,
good,
yeah, no
rather
one,
than put it towards a vehicle to find the job and then drive?
yeah,
I'm saying, how about like instead of
I
just
agree
a
with you.
handout or something
Yeah.
like that, how about they do like community service or something to do, and then by doing certain hours, one, you're helping things around you, people around you. Here's a payment type
That
of thing.
has
Or no, is that
implications as
dangerous?
well.
That's rough because
There's just something that popped in my mind.
No, but that
I'm
has
trying to-
implications. Let's take the miracle worker $500 payment a month for community service. So
It's not really community service at that point.
it's a job, right?
Yeah, it's
At
a
that
job.
point, a job for which you're being paid a slavery rate in
Yeah.
America. So that's the
Bro, you could
implications
say that
behind
we're
it.
all slaves.
no,
like,
but
if you
then
wanna
but
look at
like
it
if
that
you
way.
equate the $500, if you're working like what, it's gonna be like $8 an hour, $6 an hour. Like
Yeah,
it
but
won't
this is
work.
just
The
like the
labor laws will start kicking in.
Anyways,
Oh.
the implication is this is why they had a hard time passing that for prisoners. Prisoners work and they get paid a wage, but it's cents to the hour, right? So that was anyways. I'll come back to what you guys are talking about with the not handing out cash, and I'll bring up one analogy that might fit in perfectly, whether it changes your mind or maybe it gets you to look into it, and that is food stamps. So the same argument was made for food stamps. People who live below the poverty line, I want to make sure they're spending that money on food and not liquor and whatever it is. Make sure it's a food stamp, not cash. Now,
Okay.
the problem with that is there are certain things that you might need if you live below the poverty line that are not in a supermarket, such as healthcare.
Yeah.
So the issue there was most of the people, and again, minority communities,
Yeah.
were basically complaining, saying, "Hey, why are you telling me how to spend the cash that I need to live?
Yeah.
Just so you don't think I'm buying alcohol. My kids might need to go see somebody because they broke their hand. I might need to spend money to fix my life that's maybe not food related that month. I know how
I
to
hear what you're
spend the
saying.
money for my family best, not you."
Yeah. So I was going to bring up this as well. Like if I were in that position where the government was going to give me money, I don't want them to have any control of it because I know what's best for me,
Okay.
right? But I know it's hypocritical for me to say this, but like when my taxpayer money with the collective going to somebody that I don't know, I want some sort of contingency saying that this is going to good use.
Yeah, you want to have some autonomy over.
Yeah, but it's very tyranny to say, I guess. Because it's like my money, you gotta do what I want to do with my money. I'm giving you my money. But it's like,
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Where it's like
Like a
but then
power
when the higher ups and the government gives me money, nah, bro, don't look at it.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay,
look at it.
So,
It's all me.
so you only think like that, or you say that
Yeah.
when it's something that's like benefiting you. In
Yeah.
This case.
But like
Honestly, brother, we need
an
to
easy
learn.
fix for this, instead of cash, just put like a credit card or some shit that you can track the transactions. And if you see them pulling out of the transactions, you
Yeah,
can
but then people are
you
gonna be
can
like,
track
oh,
it, but you can track
he's
it.
invading
Their space.
their like right to live because
Okay,
you're
you
tracking
can
every single
go
purchase.
6 months
They bought
and then
milk
go
yesterday.
6 months and then we won't fucking worry about it.
Ultimately,
Like there has to be
That's
some
not a
sort
bad
of
idea.
thing.
I like the idea that at least
Visa
we're
or
talking
something.
about an alternate solution, because in America, the food stamp thing was determined to be a very racist policy that they were putting towards minorities. Because at the end of the day, they didn't get Medicare, they didn't get anything else. They got that as an assistance, and they were told how and when they can spend it, and that was not helping them; it was hindering them. So at least now us talking about it and you coming up with solutions shows that as long as people are like willing to have an honest conversation,
Yeah.
there's interest in fixing it.
Yes.
And then the last thing is,
Because I've seen people abuse the system, bro.
unfortunately,
it
we all have,
irritates
and
me.
we know who's doing it.
Yes, and it irritates me.
Yeah, but by you saying that, then you're insinuating that you're a good Samaritan and you've been and like you do what you got to do.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like there's a lot of fixes that could be done. This is an easier fix to be done.
The credit card thing.
No, I'm just saying when money from the government goes to
Okay.
a certain
Yeah,
PO
managing
on
it.
track.
Again, at the end of the day, the reason why I brought this up was because I know UBI is strange, and a lot of people have political affiliations with saying, okay, that's wrong. Like, I'm against UBI. That's a socialist thing. Like it comes up. But at the end of the day, the money that they spend towards these programs to address homelessness and the issues around it, it doesn't have a plan for how to get them self-sufficient so that one day they might not be reliant on it. It's more a stopgap measure. It's more a band-aid.
Yeah, just
These
take them off
programs
the
that they
streets.
have.
Take them off the streets.
The
but for
UBI
that one day.
program, to my own understanding of it and my hopes of it, is that at least with pilot programs, you can take 100 at a time, fix as many as you can within a certain amount of time, get them to where they can be self-sufficient, even 39% of them,
yeah.
and start again with a new batch.
Well, that reminds me, it's like in prisons around the world, there's certain countries where if you're accused of something and you're just accused of it and you get put into prison and you come out, a lot of these people would, after a while, would actually prefer staying in prison rather than coming out because they don't know what to do. And people,
Society norms are different.
people already have a perception of them coming out of prison. Oh, yo, hey, like, this guy wants a job. Don't give it to him because he was accused of X, Y, Z, even though it was. And like to wrap this off, I feel like not just because I was born there, but I feel like a country like the Netherlands, so they have something recently where all the prisons, most prisons there have been shutting down because they
I
don't.
saw this.
Yeah, bro, like a lack of criminals.
Yeah.
Really?
In the Netherlands. So maybe look, we need to take a page, and I'm not correlating homelessness with criminals. I'm not saying that as well.
Yeah, you
I
need to
just want
stop
to
segueing
like
like this.
it seems like the majority of this podcast episode was. It seemed like in the beginning it was about the AI and technology, and then we transitioned into
That's the
homelessness.
beauty of
But
it, right? It's a conversation, and
Yeah, so-
these are all important topics. The other part I just want to say about
was gonna wrap it
the
up,
homelessness situation is from a selfish point of view. The more people you can bring up to become self-sufficient from the government standpoint, the more taxable people you have joining society. It's a rising tide raises all ships, right? So
Yeah.
bringing them up, period, and the money spent towards doing that benefits
It's
all.
only gonna help.
Benefits all. And the last thing I'll say is, and
just don't take more out of my pocket.
yeah, but and the last thing I'll say at the very end was, and I'm sure you
My
guys have
money,
seen
my
these
money,
memes.
back
I'm sure
off.
you guys have seen these memes. Was the latest round of aid packages to Ukraine from the States was $120 billion. And I've been seeing this all over my feed, and it's a bunch of people came out because the most recent consensus to solve homelessness in the States was 20 billion.
So 6 times that. being
Six
sent
times
to-
over. But again, sometimes they say it costs this much government, and then it ends up costing more. Let's
Money
inflate it. Let's
allocation,
inflate
people.
it. Let's even say it's 50 billion. Money allocation. And that would have been taxable citizens that they could have brought up with them. Anyways, food for thought.
nother thing.
UBI, don't dismiss it, and take care of yourself.
Think about it, but keep your own money.
And hey, if somebody higher up in the government comes across this, maybe you should actually hear what my friend Noor here had to say about the whole like credit card thing for homeless. I feel like that's something I never thought of, but that could be good. Anyways, signing out. Peace.
Yeah,
Peace.
and give when you can.